very much for inviting me along today. We're running a bit late. And I'm going to cover quite a bit of what has already been said, so I will rattle through my slides, and I've just found out by text that I've got to do another presentation when I get home, so So just a little introduction as to West Northamptonshire, created on the 1st of April 2021 out of Daventry District Council, Northampton Borough Council and South Northamptonshire Council and half of the Northamptonshire County Council. So we're quite big. We've got very rural Daventry and South, we've got very urban Northampton, we've got nearly 180,000 properties now. We deal with 165 town and parish councils and 405,000 residents over quite a wide area. So we've got a lot to contend with. So on vesting day, day one of West Northamptonshire Council, this is what the waste services looked like in West Northamptonshire. And to be honest with you, they're pretty similar today. We haven't made a huge step forward in that. So they are three separate services. They've got some similarities, they've got some differences. The main differences on vesting day were that garden waste was chargeable in Daventry, chargeable in Northampton, but free in South Northamptonshire. That's what we've addressed, and that's what I'm telling you about today. But the other big difference is that in Daventry we collect residual waste every 3 weeks, and elsewhere it's every fortnight. We've also got a nice sort of selection of delivery methods. So in South Northampton, it is in-house service, directly employed staff. In Daventry, we have a joint venture with joint venture partners West Northamptonshire Laws, and in Northampton, it's Veolia, so it's contracted out. So we've got all sorts of different things to contend with. We've got different back office systems in terms of customer contact centre, payment systems. 2 have got Bartec, 1's got Echo, so we have to all of that. So, concentrating on garden waste. Garden waste, as of vesting day, was collected fortnightly across the whole of West Northamptonshire, but as I said, charged for in 2, free in the other. I think I worked it out, so about 70% of our residents were paying or needed to pay for their garden waste if they wanted it collected, and 30% had it included in the council tax. Daventry, I was involved in all 3 of these introductions of charging for garden waste, but we started off in Daventry in 2018, and we charged for garden waste, went 3 weekly on residual, started with our new joint venture partner, went to co-mingled DMR and started demolishing the depot all on the 4th of June 2018. So that was a big bang approach. That started in Daventry at £35 a bin, and by the time we got to vesting day, that had gone up to £37 a bin. Northampton started charging in 2020. So they have a lot of terraced houses that have SAT properties, so we do have a option for people that live in terraced houses that have SATs to also pay for a permit, and there's a mechanism to have their SATs collected. That's £42 a bin. No charge in South, but prior to vesting day, what we did do was align the charge for Daventry and Northampton, and the charging period, so that it was all £42 a bin and charged April to March. So that was a little bit of work we did in advance. But we were getting lots of complaints, mainly from residents in Daventry and Northampton saying, why on earth am I paying for my garden waste to be collected when the rich lot in the south aren't paying anything towards their garden waste? We actually got far more complaints about that than the fact that some people were having their general waste collected every 3 weeks and some were getting it collected every fortnight. So a few complaints did go to the Ombudsman, and that's where we made a commitment to review the service in year 1 of the new council. So that review took place. So we started in April 21, we started looking at it in summer 21, and we took 3 main things into consideration: the financial aspects, what it looks like from the residents' perspective, and legal, and a few other considerations. So the financial position, that's some income statistics for the existing schemes. So you can see that the joint net income is about just over £2 million. So if we were to harmonised by scrapping the charge. That's £2 million that needs to be found from somewhere else. It was never really an option to do that. But we looked at participation rates, what we were charging, so we can see that 62% in Daventry, really high number, 52% in Northampton. I should say that's of people that can receive a garden waste service, so the communal boxes are taken out of that. If they don't have a garden, they have communal bins. That's what we think that in our percentage. So from a resident's perspective, as I said, there was lots of complaints about the perceived unfairness, including ombudsman complaints, but we sort of satisfied the ombudsman by saying that we would review it very quickly, which is what we did. We did consider doing a public consultation exercise, but we realised pretty quickly that we didn't have the time if we were going to introduce it from the 1st of April 2022. And also, what would our question be? Would you like us to charge you for your garden waste or not? I think you know what the answer to that's going to be, so why ask it? It wasn't an option not to charge. Councillors were keen for us to stress to residents the other options that were available. They wanted us to look at home composting and obviously household waste recycling centres take garden waste too. So from the legal position, we looked at things like the fact that we can legally charge to collect garden waste. At the time, probably a lot higher than this now, but at the time 60% of local authorities were charging, and the average charge was about £43. I think that's probably gone up a bit. And as already been mentioned, 2 years ago we were warning councillors that DEFRA was consulting on consistency in collections and that there was a chance that they would scrap charges or cap them. So we pointed that all out, that was a risk. Obviously, 2 years on, we still go further forward on moving out of that. So, at the end of our review, we came up with a proposal that we put to Cabinet, which was to harmonise the charge across the whole of West Northamptonshire at £42 a bin, still retain the SAP options for terrace properties that have no real bins, and that as a result of that, we would introduce a charge to all those residents in the south of the area from April 22. In the Daventry scheme, the way that it was set up was that our joint venture partners did all the admin for the scheme, but going forward, we wanted it to be a one West Northants scheme, so we took the administration of the scheme away from them so that we could do it all ourselves across the whole of West Northants. We wanted a credit and debit card payment system. We wanted to get as many done online without having to call the contact centre. No discounts, keep it simple. And we did look at a subsidised home composting scheme for those, to give those an option of people that didn't want to pay the charge and they wanted to do something else with their garden waste. So all of those proposals were put into the Cabinet report, which went in December 21 and was agreed. Then I have the honour of having the first Cabinet report of West Northamptonshire called in. So we had a few weeks of political shenanigans as it all got debated and in the press and all sorts of things. But it finally went back to Cabinet in February 22, where it was agreed, no more calling, that's that, which is just as well because we went live with the payment system about a week later, because we had to carry on working along in the background, because otherwise we wouldn't be the 1st of April deadline. So, this was the new service. We revised the terms and conditions from the two previous schemes, put the best of both into one terms and conditions document. We had an online payment system. We had the problem of, although we wanted it to look like a West Northants wide scheme, really behind the scenes it was three separate waste collection authorities trying to do the best to make it look like one system. So we had 3 call centres, 3 payment systems, 3 back office systems, 3 in-cab systems. So we had to pick one of the payment systems to use, and it was Northampton Borough Council's old one, so unfortunately every time somebody paid, they got a receipt from Northampton Borough Council, which didn't exist anymore, which caused us a few problems, but it was the best we could do at the time. It wasn't the best, it kept falling over, which that meant our calls to the customer contact centre climbed up much higher than we wanted them to be. And we did put additional resources into the customer contact centre. So not only did they have people phoning them from the south saying, why have I got to pay this new charge I've never had to pay before, they also had all the people that couldn't get through online as well and wanted to pay over the phone. At the same time, we extended our waste app that we have. So in Daventry, we introduced a waste app because of the 3-weekly collection to help residents know when to put their various bins out. And it's an excellent way of also sending messages out to residents. So we extended that over to South as well, so we could send push notifications out saying you charge for garden waste, don't forget to subscribe, all of that sort of thing. The home composting scheme, we managed to secure some money and we subsidised them so that the resident could order a home composter and get it delivered to their house for £10. So normally that would be 25 quid for the composter and another £5 delivery. So that represented really good value, and lots of people took us up, lots of figures on how many people took us up on that. And we obviously put in place a very comprehensive communications plan which dealt with the residents that the service was new to and the residents that Nicola had to renew all in one plan. But we couldn't go live with that until that report had been to Cabinet, so it was all a bit last minute. That's some of the comms messages and materials that we used. So all the new residents new to the scheme in the south received a flyer posted to them with all the hows and whys detailed in there, reasons why we were doing it, how to do it, how to sign up, all of that. All the residents in Northampton and Daventry who we wanted to remind to subscribe again for the next year got a bin hanger, but we also had lots of people that subscribed online and left their email addresses, so they all got an email reminding them to subscribe. We used our push notifications on our app to send out messages to remind them, and we timed those so that it was really pertinent to each collection round. I forgot to put social media on there. Obviously we use lots of social media, and we had a little video showing how to subscribe and all that sort of thing. New FAQs, councillor, parish and town council briefings, all the usual things. There's many ways to get the message out there as possible. So the results for 22-23, our first year of the entire scheme, we got 91,088 subscriptions purchased. Of those, 263 terrace properties took us up on our offer of paying for SACs, which, well, out of 22,000 is very high, but at least it was a service to those people with a small garden. And we worked that out at about 62% of eligible households across West Northamptonshire, which we were quite pleased about. Lots of people buying more than one permit, so 10,317 bought group permits, so they wanted more than one bin, and our gross income was £3.8 million, so we got an extra £1.5 million by extending it to the south area, which obviously the councillors were pleased about. That doesn't include our costs, that's gross income, but that obviously we had costs involved in that as well. And subsidised home composters, we managed to sell 1,748 subsidised home composters. So I don't know whether they bought one, did buy a permit, or bought one and bought a permit a few weeks later. We don't know, we didn't follow that up, but that was a good result and something good to tell the councillors as well. Then that's a little slide just about the impact on the tonnage. So what I've done here is so we've got each area, Daventry, Northampton and South, and then years, tonnage collected per year for 2017-18 through to last year. And then I've put a little arrow, if you can see that, on the years where the scheme started in each of those areas. So you can see that, yes, there is a dip. Obviously there's a dip. When you introduce the scheme, you don't collect quite so much garden waste. But as we know, it's so seasonal and so dependent on the weather. South had quite a big dip when they started last year, but all of ours dipped right down in that year. It was such a long hot summer, so it's really tricky to pinpoint the effect of it, really. Recycling rate 47.5. Again, we've just brought together 3 councils and the county councils operations as well. It's difficult to compare like with what it would have been if we hadn't gone unitary and hadn't introduced garden waste charging. So just quickly, we made some changes for the following year, so what's starting this April. Unfortunately, councillors needed to find some more money, so they raised the price from £42 to £55, which wasn't our recommendation, but that's what we ended up with, and we thought we were going to get absolutely hammered by complaints, which we did get a lot of complaints, but we seem to have got through it. Yeah, a massive hike. No subsidised home composters this time round. That was just a one-off for the beginning of the scheme. Pleased to say that we got a new payment system installed, so that was much better at receiving payments. So we've got well over 90% of people doing it online themselves without having to call the customer contact centre. And we added a direct debit option in this year. No discount. I wanted to offer a discount for direct debit, but we were told no discounts whatsoever. But we've still got 16% of people signing up using a direct debit, which helps us for next year when we've got to get everybody re-signed again. You can almost leave them to it, they're going to re-sign. Still a few people taking the permits out for SAT collections, and still people ordering more than one bin. So far this year, 85,706 permits purchased so far. Still got 6 months to go. Obviously, that's the 6 months that we don't sell quite so many permits. I think by the end of the year we will be a bit down from last year. I think that's down to the price increase, and I think it's down to the cost of living prices as well. I think that people are tightening their belts and doing something else with their garden waste. But we will keep an eye on those figures for household waste recycling centre tonnages and also fly tipping as well. We didn't see an increase in fly tipping from year one. It's yet to see whether we're going to see an increase this year. I think that's it. Yes, that's it. We've already started work on next year's. Nothing ever stays still, does it? We've got next year's scheme to get up and running soon too. So yeah, that's quick.